I'd like to call to order this this special meeting of the City of Bandera Economic Development Corporation held at Bandera City Hall, 511 Main Street, Bandera, Texas, Thursday, September 15th, 2022. And the time is currently 6 p.m. All members are present except for Lindsay and Lauren. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have any announcements?
The TML big annual conference is in San Antonio on October 5th or so, and then the EDC special conference is in November at Lost Pines over in Bastrop on the 17th and 18th. So,
if anybody's interested in going to either of those, let myself or Laura know. All right, any other announcements?
Patricia, do you have anything?
I just come from another meeting out of town. Not really, it's kind of a quiet weekend, but next weekend we'll have the fire department's benefit. We'll have the Directions Wide Open, RV and motorcycle event at Bandera Crossing. It's also the Cajun Festival going on. And it's also the people that bring us the 100-mile races out of the Country State Natural Area. They will be out at the park cleaning the trails out there. So they're looking for volunteers to do that. So 4 major things going on next weekend.
Awesome. All right. Anything else? Okay. Do we have any visitors to be heard?
No, sir.
Okay. Item 5, consent agenda. Do we have any motions? Laura?
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items.
Do we have a second? Second. Alan seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Item 6, discussion and possible action on the following items. 6A, the 2 CDs at Bandera Bank that reached maturity on August 22nd, 2022.
You're looking at me, I guess.
We're looking at you.
Sir, it's on the agenda, you know.
So,
What'd you find out?
we can each take a copy of that. If you're looking at that, basically where we're at now, this was dated, some of this.
Was it June? Sorry.
Sure. Some of the numbers are dated because it was a couple months ago that we started this process as far as the balances are concerned. But if you look, the first section there is our current investments of what we have at Bandera Bank in the checking account and the 2 CDs. You'll see those listed in your financials as well. And again, some of them are dated because there's more money in the checking now than what reflects on the page that I just gave you. I'll get to the balance sheet. But anyway, the second section there under the 2 gray lines is what the current rates are at Bandera Bank for their CDs and for their checking and for their money market, which their money market is basically the same as their their regular checking now. The next section down is Texas Hill Country Bank, their checking, and then their money market, which is substantially better than Bandera Bank as far as what they're paying. They're paying 0.45, I think it's 0.15% at Bandera Bank. And then what their CD rates are. And you can see that the CD rates are very comparable. So the bottom section of the proposed is what I came up with, which would be a pretty easy work through solution. One, the checking accounts are paying roughly the same with at a 0.5% difference. It's probably not worth, what would it be, about $100 to $200 a year, changing the banking for the checking accounts. So I would propose leaving the checking account at Bandera Bank, and then opening up a money market account at Texas Hill Country Bank, and transferring over approximately $250,000, because the interest that's paid here, the 0.45% interest, is on $250,000 or greater. We have the 2 CDs that already matured and rolled over at Bandera Bank, so they're 1-year CDs. Just leave those 2, and then start turning in $50,000 on 6-month CDs. So we could work on the maturity date, and it really doesn't make any difference whether we do those at Bandera Bank or Texas Hill Country Bank from a financial standpoint. So that would be the proposal, and you can see that this year it's projected that we would earn $1,639 of interest through Bandera Bank in the top section. In the bottom section, if we made these changes, we would be earning $4,118 of interest on the same money. So again, the balances are a little bit different because of the position of our checking account today versus when we put this together. So my proposal would be to, main objective would be to open a $250,000 money market at Texas Hill Country Bank because of what they're paying, and that also distributes the 2 banks. And then start with 6-month CDs at $50,000 each. So if we have 6 6-month CDs, then every month we would have $50,000 coming due that we could draw out, use as we need. And so that would be every month. And then with the checking account with the balance, and then the money market balance, we would still have our full year annual budget in checking and money market that we would have access to. So I don't think it would put us in a bad, position cash wise, and financially to do it this way. And we would earn, roughly $2,500 more in interest. So that would be my proposal.
Is that your motion?
Well, let me ask.
Go ahead.
On the 1-year Bandera Bank that we have right now, when's it due?
It rolled.
It's already rolled?
Yeah. in
Yeah,
August.
just right before our last meeting.
Yeah.
I think the 22nd, our meeting.
If
was
we'd have caught it, we could have done those.
And is there any indication that the Bandera Bank, which I'm seeing this everywhere, you guys are too, that the interest rates rising?
They changed.
They've been ahead of Bandera Bank.
So I checked with them twice, 2 months in a row. I didn't do it before this meeting just to get their latest rates. And Bandera Banks did not change. Texas Hill Country's changed a little bit, and I'm sure they're continuing to change now, and going up versus going down.
I think that's an important consideration. Anyway.
To get the latest you're talking about, or?
No. I just think the trend is an important consideration. Yeah, as far as making changes.
I mean, they're competitive both of them are very competitive on their CD rates. They're almost identical.
Right.
The major difference is Bandera Bank's money market account only pays 0.5% more than their checking account, whereas Texas Hill Country Banks pays 0.3% more than their checking account. So, I mean, when you got $200,000 in it, it turns out to be a little bit of money.
Turns out to be a little bit. Sure does.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're in charge of.
So,
Okay.
Why don't you make a motion
okay,
based on that?
so my motion would be to open up at Texas Hill Country Bank $250,000 money market account, and then begin 6-month CDs each month for the next 4 months at $50,000 each at Bandera Bank or Hill Country Bank, whichever we decide. And then when the 1 year's come due, then we'll put them back on 6 months, so. I guess that wasn't very clear in the motion. The first.
I got it.
You got it?
I'll
Did you
second
get
that.
that?
And
I got most of it. I'll check it. I'll look back at it later.
leave the checking as is.
Leave the checking as is. I don't think it's worth, for
It's not
$100, $200 to change the checking account out with everything that's.
I'll second
Okay.
that.
Seconded by Laura. Any discussion?
I just wanna mention, I'm glad we're not changing the checking because the cost of the checks is, what was it, Keely?
It's like
So
$264.
that would
And we still
negate-
have
And we-
a ton of checks left.
Yeah, that would negate any savings.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just inconvenient.
Right.
And then so as far as discussion goes, then we also have to do signature cards at multiple banks every time we do turnover as well. So, it does put more legwork.
That's just for checking.
No, it's
No,
for
it's-
everything.
Well, the money market.
It's for everything.
It's for everything, but
And in the motion, do you have to have the, or is this just a board decision that we,
Yes.
that we look at the 50,000 CDs? I mean, is that part of the motion?
Yeah, that was part of the motion. that
Okay, all right.
For the next 4 months.
4 months, okay.
Once each month. And then once the 1 year ones come due, then
Put
convert
them on
those to
6
6
months.
months. Yeah.
Okay.
And that way, every month, we've got a new CD maturing. And then
Perfect.
resetting it. Okay. I like it, I'd like to see our Monty, get his input on that.
I
Make sure
think
that
that's-
there's no issue with splitting between banks, anything like that. I think the added interest, it's worth just, when we onboard a new board member, having them go to each bank once the minutes are in to update a signature card. Yeah, I know that was a whole headache last time.
It's a nightmare.
I don't think Hill Country Bank is gonna be as
No.
hard to deal with regarding that.
And once we talked to the right
Bandera.
person at Bandera
Right.
Bank, it was
Yeah,
really
it's
easy.
slam dunk, but we just had to get to the right
Donna's
person.
been very, helpful there with giving me information.
Okay, any other discussion on this?
Well, that's kind of my point. I was saying, is that going forward, you got a bank that's working with you a lot easier, don't you?
Well, they both are working
Yeah.
with us, but there was
Well,
just
well,
one
and-
issue
and
that
council uses which bank?
Bandera Bank.
Bandera Bank.
They have a schism there.
And in the audit, there was a question, I had a question in going through this, that the accounts were, greater than $250,000, which was not backed by FDIC. But, the auditor made it very clear that they did have, they put up, bond forward to ensure that the city was covered as well as EDC, so.
Right, and they transferred.
Yes.
So do you wanna amend your motion to, upon approval of the EDC attorney?
I do.
And
I'll
do
second.
you second the amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, all in favor? All in favor, none opposed? 6B, a performance agreement with Bandera County Community Action Group for decorating the city park and the courthouse lawn at Christmas time. Commissioner Mosley?
She called me last week and said it was gonna be on. The Bandera Community Action Group is a new group that was formed last year, that I sort of got started. Several of y'all were already there. I did the courthouse for 2 years, and then last year we had a courthouse and part of the river stuff, and we're asking again to be able to use the lights, which are owned by the EDC, and to use the river to do it again. We're right now looking at November 17th to start, which is on Thursday.
Good.
The Saturday is the big day to get people in there, do stuff, to start bringing stuff and getting that done on the 17th. I will be working on a courthouse. The community action groups will be working at the river, that's the way it was done last year. And then on January 7th, which is the next Saturday after the 1st of the year, is when we'll take them all down, but that'll give us a week. What traditionally would have been done, the day after Thanksgiving, the lights come on, and the day after New Year's, the lights go off. That gives us a week, and then Saturday to pick up the big stuff, to get it done. But last year, we had different groups down there, different churches, different organizations having their stuff on the river, and they started taking them out, as soon as New Year's was over with. But anyway, basically, as far as the city's concerned, it's gonna affect you. It's through the 7th, the first Saturday of January, and the 17th of November to get started on it. Last year was the first time I used a city bucket truck to do the big tree at the courthouse. Prior to that, we had borrowed one from Bandera rental, and they got a big thank you in the newspaper, and that's what it was, but it was a lot easier, because we've got they delivered it for us, and they took it back, and they brought it back, and it was just easier. Can you have somebody meet us over here, and it takes about an hour to take it, put it up and take it down. Actually, putting it up takes a little bit longer, but taking it down is about an hour. So you and I will have to coordinate.
Will do.
As far as that goes. The folks, Patricia was part of it. I think Laura was part of what was going on up the river last year. I was down there off and on. But the only thing I remember is having complaints from people. They're having electrical problems, and something about having both gates open every day, because it's supposed to be a drive-through. And some days, they couldn't get out. Okay, so that was an issue last year. And that's all I really have to offer right now. The Bandera, Community Action Group, like I said, was formed last year. Jane Pratt was the head of it last year. She is having some health issues. She's fine, but she's having issues. She asked to be able to just work with us but not be in charge. So Linda James is now taking that spot, and I know all y'all know Linda James. But she could not be here tonight. She's in Mason or someplace for the evening. Somewhere. Anyway, that's about all I got to offer. I would just ask to be able to use the lights again, and giving y'all the dates of what we are doing again this year, trying to get done again this year. The Christmas, everything that was on the courthouse the last 3 years, I have at Mansfield Park in storage, because it's so much easier, as the folks know that's been in those containers up there, to just put it there, because that's what we used up there. That's what we need. We haven't changed it much. Last year we did get an extra tree in there because I had a bunch of kids putting posts up, and we didn't have enough posts to do the manger, so we had to go find posts for the manger. We had an extra tree last year. But there's,
Well, you know where posts are.
yeah, no more posts.
Yeah, lots of them.
Right, there's lots of them. Anyway, that's about all I got to offer on this. Was any questions or anything? It says it has been being done for years and years. I just happened to get involved in it a few years ago.
Laura?
I'd like to make a motion that we enter into an agreement with Bandera Community Action Group to use the lights and decorations again this year at the courthouse and the park.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second that.
Second by Billy. Any
A question for you.
Yes, sir.
Alan?
The electrical problems you said citizens were having, what caused that?
So you might answer that more. I know at this end of the park where the Community Action Group, and they were, sometimes the lights worked, sometimes it didn't. I would assume there was a weak breaker or something like that. And then some of the people that were, the individual churches and businesses that have their stuff up, they were having electrical problems. In
What
fact,
type of electrical?
Keeping power.
Keeping power, and
May have too much plugged in.
well, that, and there's only certain places down at the city park that, when there's an event at the park, there are, I'm even looking for Keeley or whatever, there's only about 5 or 6 places that they could go put a box mounted on wood of, let's say, 8 or 10 outlet plugs, okay? And trying to run the extension cords and different things like that, you can run into some difficulties that way. But once everybody kind of got it settled down, it works better, but there's limited electricity in the park. There is a nightlight on the park that is solar operated that should come on automatically and turn the lights on around the flagpole. That trip, or whatever you call it, was out for some of it. So I mean, it's a work in progress. You've gotta double check and triple check till everything gets done.
Well, let me ask you this, of the lighting you're using, what percentage is LED versus, the other, the original incandescent types?
I would say,
It's the old stuff.
70?
yeah, and I know everything that's on the courthouse pretty much is basically new, when I took over.
But the problem was in the park, though, you're saying.
Problem was in the park, but the, the one thing that really is suffering and needs a complete redo would be the Texas flag in so many ways. That was created by Zoe Joe. That was the older lights, so there are some older light strands there. And a lot of what is in the Connex, because you just heard Jack say that what he has used on the courthouse lawn is at Mansfield Park. There are tons and tons of crates at Mansfield Park, not Mansfield Parks, in the Connexes that have the old, non-energy efficient
Which
lighting.
really, very little of that was used last year.
Right.
People dropped their own stuff. But there is a whole lot of stuff they can, if you get more people involved at the river, there's material there to do a display of some sort.
Right.
And plus all those figures
Yeah,
that we,
Those are the
Inventory.
Yeah,
BBAs,
those
right?
are floodlights.
Yeah.
So,
and there are quite a few floodlights in the Connex.
Right.
That have not been used in the last couple of years.
Our stakes for 4 floodlights.
right.
We probably need to look into upgrading that, because if that continues to be a problem, that's gonna get even bigger.
That'll be a
Well,
city-
I
that'll
think
be a
it's-
city.
Well, last year
Public
was the
Works.
very first time in the history of Bandera that it was opened up to the public to create displays. And there were some very nice displays down there. I would anticipate that the goal this year is like, hey, I liked what Bob did, I can do that, that's not difficult, let's do it.
Yeah, you don't wanna discourage that,
No, we don't, but
No.
then they, we'll have it.
but we need to have the power.
We need to get with Public Works.
That's Public Works, and in the past, whoever was doing it would get with city's Public Works, put out junction boxes,
Right, and they have the
Run
junction
power,
boxes
yeah.
and all.
all that type of
We are
stuff.
moving down the road now, so
Right,
that's
so
good.
there we go.
Point taken.
I just wanna say, the record driver that delivered the Connex, he was asking what it was all about, and I told him, and he wants to put up a display this year, so.
Right.
I think it's catching on, and I think I'm
Last year was the
encouraged.
first year.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great start.
Then we get back onto the motion. Alright, any further discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed? Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Alright, 6C,
I'll be bugging
update on Hackberry property rezoning.
Keely?
So everything was submitted to the city last week, and the first public hearing for planning and zoning is going to be the 28th. I believe it's a Tuesday.
September.
Yes, at 5:45. And then it should be on the next city council meeting for public hearing default, so the first meeting of October, which I wanna say is the 4th, maybe, something like that. So that's the 2 requirements, 1 public hearing for planning and zoning, 1 public hearing for city council, and then they'll make the ultimate decision, and then it will be.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for your work.
Any questions about that? Okay, item 6D, Final budget for FY '23 to submit to city council. This is in your packets towards the back, page 14. Everybody get a chance to review this? Any questions on it? Do we have a motion? Laura?
Make a motion to approve the, budget for, 22, 23.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Billy seconds. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor? All in favor, not opposed? 6E, update on Connex maintenance. My friends that I was going to use to lift the Connex, his tractor broke. More specifically, his hydraulic lines went out.
Oh, Lordy.
So we have not been able to do that. So as of right now, the footers are still in the bed of my truck. I'm just waiting for us to get a way to lift that up. Does the city have any equipment with Public Works that can lift the Connex?
I know we have the backhoe type piece of equipment that we lease. I just don't know what the capacity of it is versus what do you think that Connex is gonna weigh?
I don't know, but literally all we're trying to do is just lift
One
one
end
end at a time.
Yeah, I can't imagine
Few
it not being
inches
able
off the
to.
ground.
Let me reach out to Lance tomorrow and just kind of see what the capacity, because I've gone through that yard once and it was just kind of there was a yard full of equipment. I remember seeing that and I asked about it because I know they were leasing it.
Okay.
So, let me just see what the capacity is, but if so, yeah, it'd be pretty easy.
Okay.
Either with forks or lift from above, we could put shackles on it. and lift
Yeah,
it from above.
I distinctly remember it having outriggers, so that's gonna be able to give it some footing, so wouldn't take much as long.
Yeah. Just make sure that we don't blow the hydraulics on that.
Exactly.
I
Yes,
just
Commissioner.
walk back through on that. I know, I worked for Road and Bridge for a while. You just take a backhoe, put the bucket on the ground and tilt it and let them lift it up enough to what you need to do.
To put the footers underneath?
As long as you got your outrigger down.
Perfect.
That is a way to do it.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just
Okay.
Get your teeth under it.
Yep.
So if we can work that angle and then
While
with
they're
the,
empty.
with the board's permission, I will call the gentleman we bought it from and see what he'll charge to come out and lift them up so that we can put that on as a last resort. So
I don't know. that-
explore other options.
I don't know that he had the capability.
He's got
He
the
had-
capability to transport them,
Right.
so,
But he hired a wrecker.
okay. Alright,
So, I mean, we
well,
want,
with the board's permission, I'll explore other avenues in case we can't get it done this way.
Very
Let
much.
y'all know consensus. Okay. Alright, 6F, update on EDC parking lot striping and adding handicap signs.
Looks good.
Look great.
I think it looks great.
I think
The
it looks
tree
really
looks
good.
great.
Yeah.
And Ms. Stein was she saw me in the store the day after it was done and she, she made a real point to come up and say thank you. She was very appreciative.
I thought it was very, when I saw him doing it on Friday at, Labor Day weekend, I thought, oh my goodness. This timing couldn't be worse, but it was okay, it all worked out. And they did a great job, Jared, on the tree.
They
They
did.
did.
I
It
checked
was
it.
good.
Absolutely. It was good. Okay.
I want to make a motion that we add some additional handicap parking. And we'll open that up for discussion, I guess.
Okay, so we've got a motion to add additional handicap parking. Do we have a second?
Not sure how many I didn't,
Got one right next to the tree. And originally, we were talking about putting 4
didn't
up
they mark
against the
handicap on
sidewalk.
those horizontal ones?
I didn't see any.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Did
marked, they're, cause I
Oh,
saw.
did
it-
they?
Yeah,
Okay,
the two, there's horizontal ones between the diagonal that run down the drive, the middle drive.
That's right.
And those two were, 2 or 3,
I think
there's
it's
3 parking spaces there.
they were marked,
I know two of
I was
them.
positive they were marked
Oh, I know
handicap.
two of them are. I wasn't certain on the third.
Okay, I didn't realize that they had been put in.
I know originally we discussed making everything that was up against the sidewalk of 11th Street, that first row handicap.
Which I, and the reason why I'm saying that, because when I drove by, I thought, well, that's smart, they're horizontal, they're have access, you know, side door, van access, be plenty of room to get in and out. And so I thought it was, that's a smart idea.
Mine weren't against the sidewalk at 11th Street. The ones that I saw that were handicapped,
Yeah,
it was closer to what is Cedar Street Marketplace.
Yep.
But
There are two there
yeah,
too.
the center drive,
Yeah,
the center.
Well, good. I didn't realize that that
We'll
had
have
been
to,
done.
we'll have to go look at it again, Lee, but
Okay.
they wouldn't be van accessible though, the way they were striped, I don't think. Because if you have a van to get out of on the passenger side, I don't know.
Well, it
You'd have
depends
to
on which
look
way
at
you
it
pull
again.
in.
Well, true.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll withdraw or-
Do we need any additional signs, or are they marked such that,
I say we all
Yeah, we-
take the opportunity to go check it out and look at it and.
okay,
Bring it up again.
Yeah.
okay, so I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay, motion withdrawn. Any further discussion on 6F? Okay. Agenda item 6G, approval of the $20,000 for BEDC Executive Director salary for the city administrator. Do we have a motion? Laura?
I make a motion that we approve the $20,000 for the EDC director / city administrator.
Okay, do we have a second? Second by
Second.
Billy. Discussion? Okay,
Is this,
Laura,
I'm sorry, does it include the agreement with the city?
so that'll be sat down and hashed out with the city, because it'll actually be a contractual
Right.
agreement. So we would approve going forward with this, everybody between the EDC and the city, hash out that agreement, which is it's up on the agenda for the next city council meeting on Tuesday.
It is.
Okay.
And then, we already discussed setting down and going over job description, things like that, so. Alright, any other discussion on this?
Just need to send our final revision to Lonnie.
Yep. Okay, all in favor? All in favor, none opposed? Okay, agenda item 7, comments from the board.
Again, great job on the parking lot. And of course,
Any coordinator.
he, a great job. And,
One of
of
those
course,
lines was crooked, did you?
the Methodist Church looks good too. You know, they all did at the same time, so.
Yeah.
We're putting a good footprint out there, face forward.
Absolutely. Alright,
We are ready for those food trucks to come.
yes, we are. Alright, any other comments from the board? Awesome.
The Wayfinding Committee, met Tuesday, William joined us, and, we're getting ready to move forward on some of it and spend some money.
Awesome. Perfect. Alright. Agenda item 8, future agenda items.
I want wayfinding
Wayfinding.
on the next agenda, please. And if anybody's interested in attending the EDC workshop in Bastrop, that needs to be on the agenda.
Okay. Alright, any other future agenda items anybody wants?
William, do you have?
No, I'm sorry, I was just scratching my head.
Okay.
Not good.
Watch it.
I got 500, 500, 500.
So-
Right.
Alright,
Do we need to address, board member attendance?
that is already addressed with the city, because the city council is
Can
the
that be an
ones.
agenda item? Or not?
It will be
It's-
for them. to
It'll be for
discuss.
them, okay.
Yeah.
It's already in our bylaws what it states. and city is aware and will be on their next agenda.
It's been agendized for next week.
Good. Okay. Item number 9, do we have a motion? Laura,
Make a motion, we adjourn?
second. Alan seconds, any discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed, meeting adjourned at 6:35.